So hi everyone, hope you can hear me well. My name is Yagen. I'm the head of Aliyah for English-speaking countries at the Aliyah department within the Jewish Agency. Our session today is on making Aliyah to Israel, the process, the different statuses, basic required documents, and basically the difference on doing it from within Israel or from abroad. Following me, Mati Shalstein will speak about programs for young adults in Israel. And in between, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them at us. Okay. So Jewish Agency has been helping people make Aliyah since 1948. We've so far helped over 3 million people make Aliyah to Israel. Every person you ask on the street will tell you he's either an Olim or his family made Aliyah or he knows someone who made Aliyah. So the country is like a fusion of different cultures, which I'm sure you've experienced on your Masa program so far. So who can make Aliyah? Let's dive right in. Basically, Aliyah is based on the law of return. The law of return dictates who can make Aliyah. Basically, you are either born to a Jewish mother or converted to Judaism, or you are a child to a Jewish father, grandchild, spouse of a Jew. Okay, those are the main two categories, being Jewish by birth or being a descendant of a Jew up to third generation. Now, this is the basic requirement, and every person who claims eligible to make Aliyah will have to provide supporting documents to support the claim. Now, not everyone will be regarded as an Ole. Ole is, I'm sure, a word that you've all heard before. And Ole is a person who makes Aliyah for the first time, necessarily a person who has never had an Israeli passport before, no Israeli parents, wasn't born in Israel, and a person who is eligible by the law of return. Another status, which is similar, basically intended for people who are born outside of Israel to at least one Israeli parent. We call them Ezrach Ole, a citizen born abroad. Next main category would be a Katin Chozel. And a Katin Chozel is either a person who was born in Israel and left as a child, or a person who has made Aliyah with their parents and again left before the age of 14. The direct translation is returning minor, although we're not talking about returning as a minor. In terms of eligibility or assistance, all of these statuses are exactly the same, just the process is slightly different for each. How would you go about starting the process? And here, I think it would be best to talk about the two ways. You are currently in Israel on a program, and some of you at the end of the program will choose to change status, meaning to stay in Israel and become an Olev within Israel, or go back home. I don't know, perhaps you plan to study, perhaps you just want to pack your bags and do Aliyah as soon as possible. That would be a regular Aliyah, and from within Israel, we call it change of status. Now, I'm guessing that most of you are from different countries, okay? But let's divide it in the following manner. People from United States or Canada, their process will usually include an organization by the name of Nefesh B'Nefesh. People from the rest of the world will go through the Jewish Agency directly. We have offices all over the world, but a main number that you should remember now is the one listed on the screen. This is our global center. It's the back office for Aliyah from all over the world, and it's located in Israel. The staff can guide you on both procedures, whether you're from the States, from other countries, want to do Aliyah from Israel or from abroad. We provide services for any type of request. Now, how long in advance should you start the process? Don't be scared about the figures, okay? 6 to 8 months. We're only saying this because in some cases, Aliyah is complicated, okay? There are different variations, different background stories, and it's really different from one case to the other. But we are talking about immigrating to another country, so it takes thought, it takes preparation, and also some bureaucracy. Okay, so of course, if you're organized and you have everything ready, there's no reason for you to do the process within 6 to 8 months. You can do it much, much faster, especially if you're already in Israel. So what will happen? You will contact one of our representatives at the Global Center, or a Nefesh B'Nefesh representative if you're from the States or Canada, okay, to set up a file. And you'll be asked a couple of questions just to figure out which of the statuses I've listed before apply to you as Ole, Ezrach Ole, or a Katin Chozel, okay? And you'll get a bunch of forms to fill out and a list of documents to provide. Basic documents would always be a valid passport, birth certificate, in most cases a rabbi's letter to explain how you're Jewish, usually from a community. And in some cases, for those of you who were born to an Israeli parent, born in Israel and left as a child, you will of course also need an Israeli passport, a valid Israeli passport. Once you've submitted all of these documents, we'll move on to the next stage, which is a face-to-face interview with a Jewish agency representative. Now, I will say that if you're doing the process from within Israel, the Jewish agency is like a middleman. Will help you gather all of the necessary documents and prepare you for a meeting with a representative from the Ministry of Interior, because they have the sole authority within Israel to decide who will be making Aliyah or not. I strongly recommend to go through us. It's free of charge, and we'll make sure that you're not sent off just to wonder about the Ministry of Interior, figuring out who you need to talk to and what exactly you need to ask. Once you're ready, we'll send you to a shared meeting. There will be a representative from the Jewish agency to escort you. It's a half-an-hour meeting, and if everything's sorted, within a week, you'll have your Israeli ID card ready. Now, due to the outbreak of the coronavirus, there have been some changes. First, well, at least for now, no face-to-face interviews. If you're planning to going back anytime soon, be prepared that at least for the next couple of months, we'll probably be holding all of our face-to-face interviews over Zoom or other platforms, which may require you to send some of your documents, original documents, in advance to our offices, but we'll get there once you set up the file. Another thing that has changed, and that applies actually, that was the main variation between doing Aliyah from abroad or from within Israel, is criminal background check. Basically, the Ministry of Interior has changed regulations, and the need for a criminal background check now applies to everyone, regardless of where you choose to make the process from, whether it's within Israel or abroad. Another note on that, if you come from a very large country, like US, for example, the certificate must be federal. It's not too complicated to get by. Perhaps in the coming months a little more difficult, but you can use channeling companies. They can get it done within a week. So it's quite easy. You can find those services in other countries as well. You need to note that, let's say you plan to make Aliyah within a year, but you want to be ready now. Don't run and get the police check yet, because it has an expiration date. Currently, it's only valid for 6 months. We're trying to change the regulation to make it applicable for at least a year. But until that happens, this is the information I'm going to leave you with. Now, whether you've made Aliyah, whether you're in the process from abroad or from within Israel, eventually the application will be approved. If you're doing it here, you'll be called back to the Ministry of Interior to go receive your Israeli ID card, and then you will need to set up a meeting with the Ministry of Aliyah to claim your benefits, which will make sure to guide you exactly when you complete the process. If you make Aliyah from abroad, you will receive an approval letter with instructions on how to apply for a visa. Now, visa is not something everyone needs to get, just people who are going to be the standard Olim. Okay, people with Israeli passports will come with their Israeli passports. Okay, moving forward, we've got everything sorted. Okay, this part applies to people who are doing Aliyah from abroad, at least this slide. And the Jewish agency will pay for your airline ticket to Israel with extended luggage. Usually, if it's an Aliyah flight, we'll be able to provide 3 suitcases up to 70 kilos or 150 pounds of luggage. Okay, now let's stay on that slide. You'll arrive in Israel, and at the Israeli airport, there is a branch of the Ministry of Aliyah. If you are a standard Ole or an Ezrach Ole, you will be processed by their staff. If you're a standard Ole, you will get an ID card, you'll register with medical insurance, you will get some financial assistance in cash on the spot, even a SIM card, and a free taxi to your first destination. If you're an Ezrach Ole, you will not get an Israeli ID card, but you'll get everything else. And if you'll be a Katin Chozel, meaning a person who was either born in Israel or lived here as a child and left before the age of 14, you will not be processed at the airport in the majority of the cases, but you will get a free taxi to your first destination, and we'll assist you in arranging the meeting with the Ministry of Aliyah to make sure you get all of the assistance you're eligible for just in the city where you plan to settle in. So which assistance are we talking about? Well, first of all, the financial assistance. Upon arrival and unconditionally, those of you who will be deemed eligible for assistance under the status as I mentioned before, receive Sal Klita, which is the actual finance for your arrival. This is non-conditional. If you are single, it'll be about 18,400 shekels paid over 6 months. Upon arrival, whoever is eligible will receive half of the first payment in cash. Okay, and once you set up a bank account, you'll be able to receive the second half of the first payment, and beginning of each month, as long as you're in Israel, you'll receive the remainder of the money. And again, that is not conditional. It's not a loan. If for some reason you need to leave the country, you don't need to pay it back. I will reserve myself and say the perhaps small amount of people will be drafted shortly after arriving in Israel. If it was intentional in advance, and while you are a soldier in the army, you do not get Sal Klita. It will be frozen until you are released, because in the army, you get separate assistance. Next, medical insurance. Essentially, the state of Israel provides free medical insurance for up to 12 months. And when we talk about medical insurance, you need to understand how the system works. Basically, we have the National Insurance Agency, which is a proper government agency that provides all of the budgets to the service providers, okay? And all of us citizens, we pay monthly fees to that agency deducted from our salaries. If you don't work, you still need to pay. As a new Olim, you've just landed, no one is expecting you to run and find work, okay? So first 6 months, you do not need to pay that medical insurance tax. And you are still entitled for all the services. It's not just medical services. Some people do require additional assistance, and it's all provided by the Social Security Agency of Israel. If it's been 6 months and you still haven't found employment, you can turn to the Ministry of Aliyah and request to extend that eligibility. During your first year in Israel, you don't need, in most cases, won't need to run around between different government offices. You're under the umbrella of the Ministry of Aliyah and Integration. You'll have your own representative who you can contact. You'll have access to your personal file, and you can see the status of your benefits and receive assistance if required. Now, so you understand who the eligibility for medical services comes from. Okay, the Bituach Leumi, that's the Hebrew name for the organization, but the services are provided by HMO. That's what we call a Kupat Cholim. And for the Olim among you, upon arrival at the airport, you will choose which HMO you wish to register for, and you will be covered from day one. People who arrive with an Israeli passport will have to register after seeing a Ministry of Aliyah representative at the first city of residence in Israel. Ulpan. Ulpan is the Hebrew studies. Everyone in the statuses we've mentioned before, Ole, Ezrach Ole, Katin Chozel, will receive a voucher upon arrival for a 500-hour program. And you've probably heard that there are programs, there's an Ulpan Gordon and there's Ulpan Etzion. Okay, they're completely different from each other. And the voucher covers the Hebrew study course. If you find a program that includes accommodations as well, which Mati will speak about after me, okay, separate the two. You do not pay for the Hebrew course, you pay for the state. Okay, but we'll talk about that later. Now, some Ulpanim, let's say you're planning to rent an apartment with your friends in Tel Aviv, okay, and you also want to find work as soon as possible. Some Ulpanim have programs that are not as intensive as 5 days a week, 5 hours a day for 5 months. So you'll need to check with each Ulpan exactly, first of all, if they receive the voucher that you got. And in every municipality, there is an Olim advisor who can tell you, in our city, turn to Ulpan A, B, or C. They'll give you a list. And in addition, if you're done with the program and you feel you need additional assistance, in some cases, you can receive an additional voucher for a higher level program with a smaller amount of students, and they'll cover up to 80% of the cost if you've done the first part within the first 18 months of Aliyah. Some of you may be eligible for university tuition. People who arrive in Israel before they have a first degree may apply for a full university tuition until the age of 27. The eligibility to that benefit is not automatic. I mean, you will be required to provide certain information about high school diploma, etc. It's provided by the student authority within the Ministry of Aliyah, and it covers university level tuition. Now, in Israel, unlike other places in the world, university is usually much cheaper than colleges. Let's take IDC, for example. A school year there may cost 35,000 shekels, when in a university or university level colleges, in terms of tuition, you'll pay about 10,000 shekels. Now, that eligibility will only cover the university level, and you'll have to pay the rest if you choose to study in an establishment that is more expensive. Now, if you already have a first degree and you haven't turned 30 yet, you can also apply for a tuition assistance for a master's degree. Again, the student authority will help you verify your first degree to make sure that you're actually eligible and that the establishment you wish to go and study for may receive reimbursement later. It is important to say you pay first and get reimbursed later, within the same year, of course. Housing assistance. So we'll talk about what's more relevant for you and then perhaps what is less relevant for the time being. So rental assistance provided automatically for everyone who's made Aliyah except will come later, from the 8th month till the 5th year. If you are single, not married, you'll receive 200 shekels between months 8 to the end of the first year, and then it goes up to 400 until the middle of the 3rd year, and gradually it will go down to about 80 shekels in the 5th year when it ends. If you've made Aliyah, and you've noticed that it's been 9 months and you haven't received anything, you need to make sure to turn to the Ministry of Housing, but you'll be able to manage all of that from your, let's call it an absorption or integration file within the Ministry of Aliyah to keep track of the benefits that you should be receiving and take care of it if necessary. Now, another benefit related to housing is the Alnona. Alnona is the taxes to the municipality. Every municipality has a different maximum rate of discount which you can apply for. Let's say in Jerusalem it's 80%, perhaps in Tel Aviv it's 90%. If you are an Ole or an Ezrach Ole, that applies to you. Unfortunately, that benefit does not apply to a returning minor, a Katin Chozel. It allows you to receive the maximum discount on the taxes to the municipality for 12 out of the first 24 months from making Aliyah. Let's say you've arrived in Israel and went straight to a program like Beit Boldetsky, Ulpan, etc., or a preparatory program, and you're not yet renting an apartment but after 5 or 10 months, you will, and that's when the benefit will be applicable to you. If you rent an apartment with roommates, note that unless the agreement is totally on your name, the discount will be broken into the different parts according to the status of the roommates. Some of them are Israeli, of course, it will not apply at all. Last housing related benefit is the mortgage. The Ministry of Aliyah provides a limited, I think it's more correct to call it a loan than a mortgage, of up to 150,000 shekels within a period of 15 years. So you definitely don't need to apply for it now. Do you need to apply for it at all? Well, basically in the past, let's say in the past 10 years, unless you really need the extra money, you will usually get better interest rates at the bank. But if you're missing a certain amount for a down payment on a house, then you should definitely consider what the Ministry of Aliyah has to offer, especially as you have 15 years to use that benefit. Next, tax breaks. In Israel, taxes are deducted directly from your salary on a month-to-month basis. In some cases, let's say you've got a bonus in a certain month, you had to pay more taxes then. And with most employers, at the end of the year, no one will calculate how much taxes you've paid throughout the year. And you may be left entitled for a reimbursement on the taxes. But that's something you'll have to take care of on your own. And we'll be happy to instruct you when that day comes. But what happens during the first period? First 3.5 years, First 3.5 years, you get a tax break and you need to pay a little less taxes. Now, how does it work? And I'm an Israeli citizen, okay? And by being a male Israeli citizen, I get 2.25 points by default, which means about 450 shekels that I get to keep in my pocket without reporting. Every point is worth about 200 shekels. Now, by making Aliyah, for each of the listed statuses, you will start by getting additional 3.5 points added to your credit. So if you are a female, for instance, you get 2.75 by default, and added 3.5 points during the first at least year and a half, okay, which means that you get to keep extra 700 shekels in your pocket without having it deducted. When you find a new employer, the first thing you do is fill out a form with your basic details. And the form does ask whether you've made Aliyah. You'll have to just add a copy of your Teudat Ole, which is the certification showing your status in Israel. And that money will not be deducted from your salary. Okay, after a year and a half, it will go down to, you will lose 2 points out of the credit. But again, there are different ways to gain points. You can, even if you've completed university studies, you can get 2 points. If you get married and your spouse doesn't work, they can get a certain points. Once you have children, again, for each child, you get additional points. So at different stages of life, you can find a way to pay less taxes. If you have some kind of income arriving from abroad, it can be from renting a home, from stocks, from it doesn't really matter. Any type of income generated outside of Israel is tax-free for 10 years. But the state of Israel does expect you to shift your business center into Israel after you're done with the 10 years. Otherwise, you'll be double taxed. Last tax-related subject is purchasing property. You have 7 years from making Aliyah and a year from before making Aliyah to purchase a house without paying the purchase tax, which for regular apartments, it will be about 0.5% from the total cost. I'll tell you a little secret. Even I, as a regular Israeli, get this benefit. So basically every person purchasing, every citizen purchasing first property in Israel does not pay that fee, okay? But once you get to that point, read the fine print. Doesn't apply in every case. Shipping. So State of Israel allows you to ship on your expense up to 3 shipments. It can be a small box of something you've purchased online or a container, but in total up to 3 shipments with regular household items that are not taxed in Israel. I know some people who leverage that benefit, went to China, bought a full container of furniture and electrical appliances and saved about 50% of the cost than what it would cost them to buy in Israel. Remember, you need to pay the shipping. Car benefits. I suppose most of you are currently on a student visa. Some of you perhaps are on a tourist visa. You can drive your car while here. But once you make Aliyah, you can buy a new car with a considerable discount. How considerable? People will tell you it's 50%, but essentially it's less because there are different calculations into the amount of tax. Let's say a car costs $10,000 in Israel, you will have to add $13,000 of tax to the price. So essentially the actual discount would be around 22, 23%. And it only applies to a new car, which you can buy during the first 3 years in Israel. Now, today, the Ministry of Transportation allows you to convert your foreign license into an Israeli one, as long as you do it within the first 3 years from arriving in Israel, from making Aliyah. And you can do it on the spot as long as you can prove that you've had a valid license for 5 years prior to that day. Those are the benefits, okay? We'll be happy to assist you with questions about the process, questions about the documents, okay? We've just basically touched the tip of the iceberg.
יש להם פה שאלות בצ'אט.
יש שאלות בצ'אט,
הרבה.
אני יוצא מהצ'אט.
יש הרבה שאלות בצ'אט.
בואו נעיף מבט.
אוקיי.
Okay. If you already have an Israeli bank account, are you still going to receive it in cash? Yes, it has nothing to do with it. They just need to give you a form once you arrive so you can get signed at the bank. And then you bring back to the Ministry of Aliyah so they can do like a permanent month-to-month transfer. Now, I suppose that that bank account perhaps is not a shekel account, so you'll have to make sure to transfer it and make sure the bank knows you're also a new immigrant at that time to get the related benefits if they provide any. Next. Is the same to do Aliyah if you have more than one passport? Well, the state of Israel doesn't restrict you in terms of the amounts of passport you can hold. You just need to make sure that the country of origin does allow you to hold an additional passport, and just read about tax regulations in your home country to understand what type of report you have to do. Let's say American citizens have to keep reporting their income forever and ever. So, and that should be something you take into consideration when you're thinking whether you should also take an Israeli passport. Now, if you come from a country that doesn't allow to hold an additional passport, note that Israel allows you to make Aliyah, become Israeli, and within a 90-day period, turn back to the Ministry of Interior and say, I cannot hold the Israeli citizenship, I renounce it, and become a permanent resident. That essentially means you still get all of the benefits and the obligations of living in Israel, and you will not be able to get an Israeli passport or vote for government. Next question, what about the health insurance for those on Masa working visa extension? Not actually during the Aliyah process yet. How do we go about getting it as a non-Israeli citizen? And do we have to pay ourselves a Masa program? During a Masa program, it's included. Okay, so you're done with Masa, you're using the work visa extension to stay and continue working in Israel. Basically, you can try and turn to the Bituach Leumi, to the Israeli Social Security Agency, and tell them, look, I've been here for over 180 days. Okay, can I please get access to the medical insurance? Now, if they say yes, you can go to the local HMO and ask to register, but not as a citizen. Okay, they will charge you more. How much? It depends on age and health condition. And let's say people younger than 35, I suppose it would cost, let's say, about 200 to 300 shekels a month before you become Israeli. Where are the student authority requirements for funding for the masters? Send you a link. I'll send the link over here. One second, I'm already on their website. Okay, that's a PDF with some instructions. Is there a non-American phone number for the 1-800, the British one? Of course. I'll take it as people from applying for the process from the UK. One second. Okay. What about national service? If you want to do it, can you have a job in the same time and spread out the hours of national service? Well, first of all, if you're at the age of doing military service, meaning for women, if you've arrived in Israel before the age of 21, men arriving in Israel before 22, if you decide to stay or make Aliyah without taking time off Israel for at least one consecutive year, you will have to serve in the army. And if you still want to do national service, then you'll have to get exempt first. And Now, I'll answer the question directly. If you want to work while serving in the army or while doing national service, those organizations will need to provide to basically to give you permission to do so, because they maintain you in most cases financially, as well as living on a base or living in a service apartment, whatever is necessary. Do you have to live in Israel after you make Aliyah? Once you've become an Israeli, the citizenship will not be taken away from you, okay? And it's up to you to choose what you wish to do next. As I said before, most benefits are non-conditional. It's not a loan that you have to pay back. You don't need to ask for permission to leave the country. The passport law was changed in July 2017, allowing people, let's say, who know they are not planning to renounce Israeli citizenship within the first 90 days from arrival. You can just go to the Ministry of Interior within a couple of days from arrival, sign the form stating you will not be renouncing citizenship, and get an Israeli passport within 10 days from that time. And once you have a passport, you can do whatever you want. And every person has their own plan. Of course, we're here to talk about living in Israel and not necessarily getting Israeli citizenship and going back home. That kind of beats the purpose. You'll always be able to do Aliyah later.
Just a minute. I want to add something. If you are going back, so the absorption basket is only for the first year. So if you are going back, for example, after a few weeks or month, it stops, okay? The payments are stopped, and then you, in order to start them again, you have, when you are coming back to Israel within the first year, you have to announce and to say to the Ministry of Absorption that you came back, in order that they will give you the payments back. But it's only in the first year. If you are coming back after a year and 1 day, you are losing the this assistance, financial assistance.
I agree with Mati, but I will say that fortunately this is not black or white. And let's say if you're not eligible for assistance as you've left Israel, I mean, not eligible for it automatically, you will be able to reinstate, you will be able to turn to the Ministry of Aliyah. They have a committee and they can discuss whether they can reinstate the benefit or not. During the first 6 months when you still get financial assistance, if you go on a visit back home, okay, and it falls on the days exactly when they're supposed to release the next payment, they check whether or not you're in Israel. If you're not in Israel, they'll stop the payment. And once you're back, you just need to go back to the office, present yourself, it's back to normal. Okay? You don't need to, it's not the end of the world if the assistance freezes. You can talk to us, we'll guide you on how to release it. Someone asked, I'm 30 turning 31 when I make Aliyah. Who's the best person in our office to contact about extending the master's degree benefits? Well, basically, as I said, it's not black or white. The cutoff age for a master's degree is 30, but you can turn to the student authority. Just Google Student Authority Ministry of Aliyah in Israel, and you can contact them on paper if you want. I'll even give you the email address for the English-speaking department. Are they scheduled to talk here?
No. No, they're not scheduled to talk, but I just want to add, while you're looking, that yes, it's until 30 years old, but there are some programs that it's until 35 years old. This is special programs that I will tell you about it a little bit later. Masters in management and bioengineering and things like that, and tourism, masters in tourism. So in these cases, it's more than 30 years. In any way, you always have the possibility to write a letter to a special committee and the student authorities, and then you're explaining that, yes, I'm 31, I'm 32, I'm 33 years old, but I need your help to financial assistance because, and you're explaining why you didn't have the possibility to do it until now. For example, there was a special situation in Israel, for example, your occupation or your education until now doesn't give you the chance to integrate in the Israeli market or employment. So, and in these cases, they, are more flexible to give you the financial assistance.
Okay, so Mati, thank you. While you were speaking, I answered a couple of questions on the chat.
Okay.
Is it obligatory to go to the army after Aliyah? I'm 30. Well, basically, unless you're a doctor, there's no need to serve, okay? And also unless you came here over 8 years ago. But basically the cutoff age for boys, 22, girls, 21. You can ask to volunteer until the age 28, but then you'll have to serve at least 18 months. Next. A question about the 6-month work visa that Masa provides after programs. Can this help in making Aliyah? Do you get Israeli passport straight away after Aliyah? So Israeli passport, easy to get. Usually we tell people after the 90-day period is over, you can apply for an Israeli passport. But as I said before, there's really, if you know you're not planning to renounce Israeli citizenship, you can apply for it within a couple of days from arrival. In terms of the 6-month visa you get from Masa, as far as I know, that visa is within agreement with the Ministry of Interior, meaning it's automatic. Once you're done with the program, you can get it. But if you wish to extend it, then you will have to provide the documentation showing that basically you're eligible by the law of return, which will be sent over to the Jewish Agency for review. Will the automatic visa granted by Masa help you in making Aliyah? The visa itself, no. And the eligibility is checked regardless of previous stays in Israel. Would Ulpan for 5 months be covered only at the basic level? Not necessarily. You arrive at an Ulpan, you take a proficiency test. Okay, there are many levels from Kita Aleph to Kita Vav. Okay, 6 main levels. I think it's even divided into 2 levels within each class. And you will be set into the class of your level in most cases. Okay, if you are planning to participate in a program like Ulpan Kibbutz, for instance, most of them do only cover basic Hebrew levels. Now, usually within the 5-month program, people can jump at least 1 level, but it's mostly up to you. Someone asked again.
מישהו פה שאל בסוג של, הייתי אומרת, בהלה מסוימת. Someone asked about, yes, about this military service. 27 years old, as far as I know, it's only as a volunteering. Only volunteering.
After 22, you don't need to serve, okay? The army doesn't care when you've made Aliyah. They care how old were you when you arrived in Israel. Okay, if you were under 22 as a boy or under 21 as a girl, came on Masa, okay, finished Masa and stayed the 6-month on working visa, okay, you're now over the age, and then you decide to make Aliyah, okay, or even go back, but make Aliyah within the same year, okay? You go about your life, and within 9 months to a year, you get a letter from the army saying, hey, we didn't forget about you, come serve, okay? So remember, they don't care about the Aliyah date. They care about the last entry after which you've stayed in Israel for an extended period of time. And the cutoff age, okay, if that doesn't apply to you, is 21 for girls and 22 for boys. We said volunteering is until the age of 28. So no. I've only visited Israel on vacation. Would I still enjoy living there when I'm working? That's a good question. Tell us If you show that you have the right of return, you can stay up to 5 years on each visa. If your employer would sponsor you with the Ministry of Interior, you can still stay for the 5 years, even not even presenting documents related to Aliyah or eligibility for Aliyah. Okay, there are a lot of doctors, foreign doctors who come to work in Israel, engineers. If there's an employer who really wants to hire them and he can prove that they're the only person who can do the job, then the ministry will grant the visa regardless of your eligibility. Okay, the total amount of time you can spend on a working visa is 5 years. How long do you require to live in Israel after making Aliyah? We advise to try out life in Israel for 3 years. Okay, that's usually the best indicator on whether you really like it or not. Now, 100%, your experience today from your experience tomorrow as a citizen may not be exactly the same, okay? Because now, in a sense, you're in an adventure. You can also look at Aliyah as an adventure as well. But that's for a different time. Okay, I don't see anything else. Anyone else wants to unmute and ask a question? Anything I forgot to answer?
נראה לי שיש פה שאלות.
If
Sorry,
you
I
want
didn't
to
hear
make-
the answer. Someone,
Yeah, but that's to visit Israel on a vacation. Will I still enjoy living here when I'm working? Ask your friends.
You said that the Masa working visa just starts as soon as our Masa student visa is over. Is that an automatic turnover, or do we have to do something special?
I think you need to ask for it, and I would check with your Masa coordinator to make sure, because I'm not familiar with the agreements. I work at the Jewish agency. Masa is a separate organization. As far as, according to my information, which may be wrong, that visa, I mean, Masa is a semi-governmental organization. So if I'm not mistaken, there's an agreement with the Ministry of Interior. It's one of the perks, I mean, to pull you into Israel. Come, you'll get a working visa to work for 6 months trial life in Israel.
אתה רואה פה? אתה רואה את השאלה בפרטי?
I also
Okay.
have a question.
Yes, please.
Because I'm in Israel now, but if I return to the UK in the process of making Aliyah, am I able to return? Because I know now with all Corona, you can only come to Israel with an Israeli passport. So if I start the process,
Or with an Aliyah visa.
sorry.
So you're right, tourists are, or any type of visa holders are unable to enter Israel for the time being. The only ones permitted are Israelis or people with an Aliyah visa. So if you're planning to make Aliyah and you'll get an Aliyah visa, you will be able to return.
Oh, okay. So I can. So if I start it here, that's fine then. If I.
You can, I mean, let's say you're in the program now,
Yeah.
you know you wish to go back home, just to pack your bags. There's no reason for you not to set up your file now, start gathering the documents. If you manage even to get all of the documents here, you'll be approved, and you'll just go back to pack, get a visa, and fly back to Israel.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
מה זה?
Okay, the important question. To get a tuition fee for the university, would you need to study in Hebrew? The answer is yes, and Mati will talk about a couple of exceptional programs that start in English and then turn to Hebrew, and they actually provide much more extensive financial support. Another question was whether Aliyah programs are currently on hold due to coronavirus. some programs had to postpone, but starting August 1st, we're back to normal. I think there was another question about a third degree. Can't seem to find it now. Okay, anyone else wants to unmute? Okay, so thank you. I hope you enjoyed. I'll show you. I'll just leave you with the number to contact the Global Center for any Aliyah related questions. Okay, this is a toll-free number from within Israel as you're currently all in Israel. Okay, you can also find us through the Jewish Agency website. What happened? Thank you, everyone. מתי, בהצלחה. אני זז.
רגע, תזוז, אני מנסה לעלות פה בינתיים את ה... זה לא זה. אמרתי ממי. רגע. אוקיי, אני חושבת שאתם רואים את ה... Can you see the...
הם רואים את טבלת
That
התוכניות, את
אוקיי, אוקיי.
פשוט תעשי
זה-
share screen ותבחרי מסך אחר.
לא רואים את זה? זה דווקא...
רואים כרגע
את הטבלה של הזה, אוקיי.
לא,
אבל
את
יש...
לא טבלה, לא רואים טבלה.
לא רואים?
רואים את תיקיית המסמכים.
רגע, ומה זה?
תלחצי על כפתור share screen ותבחרי
אבל
את הטבלה שאת רוצה להציג.
רגע, share screen.
או שפשוט תקטיני את מסך הזה.
שנייה,
תקטיני את התיקיות.
רגע, אז אולי, איפה זה חכה רגע, אל תלך, שנייה. אני מנסה פה... מה זה? זה לא זה, זה לא זה, זה לא זה. זה לא זה. שנייה, מסמכים. בואו נראה פה, מצגת. פעם אחת אני רוצה לעשות את זה מצגת, מה?
הנה.
אני חושבת שזה זה, בוא נראה אם זה מצליח לי. רק תגיד לי אם אתה רואה. אתה רואה?
פתח. אני מחכה שזה ייפתח.
אבל רגע.
תקטיני, תקטיני את המסך.
איזה מסך?
תקטיני לא את המסך של הזום, תקטיני...
רגע, סטופ שייר, כתוב... רגע. ניו שייר, אולי זה ניו שייר?
יאללה, לכי לניו שייר.
רואים?
רואים, מעולה. כנסי למצב מצגת.
מצב מצגת, רגע. לא משנה, שיהיה ככה.
לא משנה, אוקיי.
רואים את זה, לא?
Enjoy, make עלייה.
רגע, אני חושב... אוקיי, בסדר.
תסתדרי מפה, מתי?
יאללה, לך.
על הכיפק, תודה רבה, ביי.
Hi, everyone.